The night was cold, the kind that made the wind sting against your skin. On a quiet street just past 9 p.m., a man named Daniel was walking home from his late shift at the auto shop. He wasn't in a hurry, he never was anymore. Life as a single dad had taught him patience. His daughter, Emily, was already tucked in at home with the neighbor watching her. She was the reason he kept moving forward, no matter how hard life became. As he turned the corner, he heard it. The sound of shouting, angry, bitter, sharp. Then came another sound, a cry. A woman's voice, trembling, pleading. Daniel froze, every muscle in his body tightening. Across the street, under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, a young woman was cornered by two men. Their voices were filled with venom, their hands raised with violence. She tried to shield herself, but she was small, fragile-looking, and already bruised from their rage. Daniel's heart pounded. He had promised himself he'd stay out of trouble. Emily needed him, but in that moment his instincts spoke louder than fear. He couldn't walk away, not this time. He stepped into the street. His boots echoed against the pavement, and in a voice that was steady but fierce, he said, "That's enough." The men spun around, startled. Daniel wasn't the kind to pick fights, but his presence was solid, unshakable. There was something in his eyes, something that said he wasn't afraid to stand between them and the girl. For a moment, silence stretched heavy in the air. Then, muttering curses, the men shoved past and disappeared into the night. The girl collapsed against the wall, shaking. Daniel knelt beside her. "You're safe now," he whispered. She tried to speak, but only tears came. Her name was Lily. She was 19, barely more than a child, and she had been on her own since she was 16. She told Daniel that the men were people she once trusted, people who had taken advantage of her vulnerability. She had nowhere else to go, no family to turn to, no roof over her head. Daniel listened, his chest aching. He knew that kind of loneliness. After his wife passed, he had spent many nights feeling lost, broken, and invisible. If not for Emily, he wasn't sure he would have made it. That night, Daniel made a choice. He couldn't solve all her problems, but he could do something. He walked Lily to his apartment, offered her food, and let her rest on the couch. She kept saying, "You don't have to do this for me." But Daniel only replied, "Sometimes what we need most is someone to care." Days turned into weeks. Lily found small jobs, slowly saving money. Daniel helped her write a proper resume, taught her how to fix little things around the house, even invited her to join Emily for dinner each night. For the first time in years, she began to feel human again, safe, seen. Still, she carried guilt. "Why are you helping me?" she asked one evening, tears brimming. Daniel smiled gently. "Because once someone helped me when I didn't deserve it, and I promised myself I'd pass that kindness on." The unexpected turn. Months later, Daniel's auto shop announced layoffs. He was among them. He tried to hide the stress, but bills piled up and the fear of failing his daughter crept back in. One night, Emily overheard him whispering to himself about not knowing how much longer they could stay in their home. Lily saw the weight in his eyes, and for the first time she had something to give back. Without telling him, she worked extra shifts, reached out to a friend she had made at one of her jobs, and managed to secure Daniel an interview at a new repair shop. The position was better than his old one, steady hours, higher pay, and room for growth. When Daniel learned what she had done, his eyes filled with tears. "Why would you go this far for me?" Lily held his hand and whispered, "Because sometimes the person who saves you needs saving too." On the day Daniel started his new job, Emily ran up to Lily after school and hugged her tight. "Are you gonna stay with us forever?" the little girl asked. Lily's eyes watered. She looked at Daniel, who simply nodded. It wasn't about charity anymore. It was about family, an unexpected family stitched together not by blood but by compassion, by the choice to stand up when it mattered most. Years later, Lily had built a life of her own. She went back to school, became a social worker, and dedicated her life to helping kids who felt forgotten. She never forgot the night a single dad said, "That's enough." That single act of courage had rewritten the story of her life. And Daniel, he never once regretted stepping forward. Emily grew up knowing that kindness wasn't just a word, it was action. It was the difference between despair and hope, between being broken and being rebuilt. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give isn't money or answers or even shelter. It's the willingness to say, "You matter, you're not alone." In that kind of love, it changes everything. This story reminds us that courage isn't always loud and kindness doesn't need to be perfect. A single act of compassion, choosing to say that's enough when the world looks away, can change the course of someone's entire life.